Sagittarius, well, you beat me to it. Good for you. And it's great to see you for your Sagittarius May 2020 reading. I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who haven't met me before. That'll do it. And it's great to see you. So here we are to do tarot and all sorts of other things during this period. It's great in particular to see my subscribers back again. Wonderful to see you. I love having the conversations with you over the comments sections. And of course, I've done a couple of readings for you, haven't I, during the past month. And if you'd like to have a personal reading yourself, just check out the information in the description box, which will show you how simple it is. Now, what will we do today? I think the first thing we'll do is take what I call a shadow self card, I think. Now, the reason why it's a shadow self card for me is because it directs me to what lies beneath. And there's nothing untoward about the shadow self. Nothing to be concerned about. There's nothing malevolent about the shadow self, not at all. Rather, the shadow self just deals with that part of us that normally the light does not shine upon. But nevertheless, it makes up a significant part of us. And what's that one say? In fact, what does that say? Journey. May as well use the glasses. Paid for them, you know. Want to see. So let's have a look. So there's journey for Sagittarius. Boy, sounds like you, doesn't it? I wonder what that means. We shall see shortly. Now, I'm also going to use some tarot cards here. I'm going to choose 5 from a deck that was produced and painted by an artist in San Francisco, a lady who I think generates really lovely art, and I wondered what it would be like if she were to do a tarot deck, and here it is. And there is the Star card, perfect for you. The 6 of Cups. Well, I hope you are going to, well, I won't give it away, the 6 of Cups, but I'll say this, it's good for you. Well, actually, it depends to see where it sits with everything else, doesn't it? And what the other elements are. Yeah, the woman is a great artist, and she, well, like all artists, is kind of struggling along a bit. There's the 3 of Discs, but it provides good work. Look, it looks like she uses a lot of watercolors. I'm not normally a watercolor guy. I'm an oil painting type of guy because it's got you know, a bit more strength and stuff to it. There's the 9 of Swords, and I think that what she ends up with here for me is beautiful. I don't mind modern art either sometimes, provided it's got some structure to it and looks like it hasn't been done by a 5-year-old. Or me, which is about the same thing. There's the so you got the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords. Now, let's have a look to see what these playing cards have to say for us here, shall we? Now, this might be the last month that I do the playing cards for a while. Next month I'm going to probably use the Thoth Tarot deck. A lot of people are frightened of the deck, mainly because it's just jam-packed full of really deep esoteric and mystical symbolism, which, to those who are unfamiliar with the underlying mysticism and esoteric teachings and wisdom, it escapes them. But it does sometimes require things to be pulled out. There's the 6 of Hearts. Isn't that interesting? That's come up there. Yeah, I think that the imagery on this these playing cards is like sort of Christian statues. Don't be put off by that, because what's important is that look at it from an artistic sense, as I do. And there's the 7 of Clubs. Isn't that interesting? That 7 of Clubs. I think that came up once or twice for other people. Must be something in the air, I think, for this month. And here's what is this for you. Oh, there's the 8 of Diamonds. Excellent. Right. Now, why don't we get together, have a good close look at these cards together, check out the imagery while I give you my take on what I think it means for you. All right, let's have a look at this card here first, which is your, well, which is your theme, I suppose. In a way, this is something which is a general thematic influence upon you this month, journey. Well, a journey is not always traveling to different lands, but it can also be an inner journey, you know. You have the opportunity to travel a different route, ending up somewhere different to where you expected to be. Journeys are always significant as they provide you with experiences and understanding you did not have prior to starting. A journey will help you see things in a different light, from a different perspective. Now, whether you're about to embark on a physical or an emotional journey, the outcome will be the same. You will not be the same person who starts the journey as the person who finishes. This is a time for enlightenment, a time when others have control of your learning. You will be completely absorbed in the experience and will not even know the changes that are taking place or the lessons you are learning till the journey is complete. There is no need to fear this journey, as it will have a wonderful outcome. Every experience in life is simply that, an experience that deepens your knowledge and brings you closer to your true self. This sacred knowledge and awareness is itself the essence of that journey. Now that's what it means for me, for you this month, and I don't know, I think that pretty well sums it up from what I can see around the rest of this spread here. Let me make a couple of comments about the spread when we start here. You have the first card of the Sun. You have this beautiful Three of Discs in the middle here, this exquisite Six of Cups, and down on the bottom row here, you have the 9 and 10 of Swords. The 9 and 10 in the suit of air. Well, the central energy coming around those cards is that of discs, which is earth, and in elemental terms, earth and air are enemies, and the earth weakens the air cards, and so the impact of these cards will be weakened. This 10 of Swords, in fact, being sat upon by this Six of Cups, which is beautiful, and this 9 sat upon by the Star, which I'll get to. I'll do the 9 and 10 first, and then you'll see what I mean. These are weakened, but let's have a look at them. Get into them. They've come up here for a reason for you, so let's see what it is and see what message there is for you to have. Well, here we have what I assume is the Queen of Swords sitting above a tree, almost howling at the moon, which now has an unusual face, with the ruins of a city behind it. Astrologically, this is, for me, given the position that it's in this lower left corner and with the star beneath it, it is Mars ruling the second decan of Gemini, that 1st to the 11th of June period. Now, the one-pointed nature of Mars does not sit well with the scattered energy of Gemini. Now, people whose birth chart shows Mars in Gemini generally get fired up and use words as their weapon, cruelty. Now, this number 9 is also significant for me because the number 9, mystically, is associated with the moon. And so this also creates a passivity against the onslaught of Mars. The number 9 also represents the cycle of returns in numerology. The loop, also within the suit of Swords, can turn into a negative thought loop or an ability to talk yourself down, some sort of self-mental cruelty, cruel words that you may impart upon yourself, mental anguish and suffering. Do you know, you really know your Achilles heel better than anybody else, don't you? You know which words are able to harm you more than anybody else. And you should have in mind this thought: I am loved, simply because I am the way I am. Do you know, there's something further I think that needs to be said in relation to this card, and it is this. Let me pull the card out a little so I can see it in the context of the others. I think the message that's coming through here for you, sometimes these mental anguish thoughts can say, oh, I should have done this better, or I didn't do that, or I lost that opportunity, or I could have done this. Why did I say that? Why didn't she love me? Why didn't he love me? I think what I would say is this. Despite what you may believe, you can disappoint people and still be good enough. You can make mistakes and still be capable and talented. You can let people down and still be worthwhile and deserving of love. Everybody has disappointed someone they care about. Everyone messes up, lets people down, makes mistakes, not because we are inadequate or fundamentally inept, but because we are imperfect and fundamentally human, and expecting anything different is setting yourself up for failure, because nobody is perfect. So just beware of those self-thoughts, I think, that you may have running through your mind. Now, as if to amplify these self-thoughts here is this 10. I'll do the 10 and then I'm going to go to the star, because the energy of the star is completely coming through along with that 3 of discs to dispose of these things. The first thing about the 10 is this, is that the energy of the 10 is very unstable in this suit of swords, and it is going to devolve into in the tarot, the energy devolves next into the Ace of Discs. So this is in a way a short and unstable energy in the 10 of Swords. But what can we say about the 10 of Swords? Well, I have given the position which is down here, and with this 6 of Cups above it, I have it as the Sun ruling the 3rd decan of Gemini, the 12th to 20th of June. Now, here the Sun in Gemini is difficult, as Gemini disperses the Sun's energy and it disperses your focus. The focus is entirely on the intellect here, and it is unstable. And as I say, this 10 is about to go into the next suit. It may be that there is a feeling within you that you kind of go, oh, woe is me, I feel terribly broken, I feel depressed, I somehow feel crushed by a particular event. Or you've said, oh, I've made the wrong choices and I should have done something else. Remember that this 10 is about completion and removal. It's on the way out. And this suit is about mental stress that you're going through. So it's not something which is actually harming you. I will say this, though, that there is a center of consciousness, an angel, if you would like. The name is Kaliel. It's taken from the 72 names of God. And that name of Kaliel refers to or substitutes for the word Lord in a book of the Old Testament, or Hebrew Bible, known as the Book of Psalms. And it is Psalm 35, verse 34, as I recall, which says, "Take up my cause, O Lord my God, as you are beneficent, and let them not rejoice over me." Well, concentrating on that verse, chapter 35, verse 34 of Psalms, and invoke the Spirit for assistance in the face of some adversity, you will be rewarded. And a very auspicious time to do that is between 5:40 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. And it will allow the knowledge of truth to surface and your innocence to triumph. Abundance and fruitfulness will fill your being. There's also a great power of procreation associated with that name and that verse. So this is a good time for you. Once you've recognized really in what area your fears lie, formulate your own specific affirmations using only positive terms to help reprogram yourself. What are your greatest fears? What would total destruction in your life look like? And ask yourself, is that actually something that is going to happen? And the answer is no. Have this thought in mind: I invite the positive into my life, and I welcome it wholeheartedly. Let's have a look at this beautiful card here of the Star. There you go, you in focus? Yeah, let me have a look at this card. Well, the Star, a card of peace and hope and striving to elevate your desires to a higher level of meaning and worth. It represents all the highest thoughts and feelings applied to your existence. Hope, faith, epiphanies, all of which can so easily turn into daydreams and delusions and misplaced trust if you sabotage yourself from doing them and permitting that to happen. This is saying, don't listen to yourself in this situation where you might be downhearted. The woman in the Star, eyes closed and with white feathers in her hair, is taking a kind of imaginative leap of faith. Like magic out of the water and into the sky, she is trusting of this magic and believes she is worthy of it, as you are. And above her shines an 8-pointed star, which, if I look at the 8, if I look at Major Arcana, would bring us back to justice and balance. She believes in her own place in the perpetual motion of the universe. You belong here. Behind her, 2 trees, barren of any distinguishing characteristics, but indicating for me the twin trees of knowledge and life, form a sort of a convoluted backdrop. The heavens are reflected in the waters, indicating that the woman's rise to the sky is from a place where hope had always existed, but was unseen. Now, doesn't that tell you something about the energy, that negative energy that is associated with that 9 and 10 of Swords? Every woman and every man is a star. This is for me, well, she is really for me the daughter of the flaming firmament, the daughter of the firmament. The astrology of this is Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted. Now, Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook. Well, the Star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you about the divinity and uniqueness within you, while encouraging you to become a conduit for bringing down your highest potential. I think that this is a time when maybe there are self-confidence and self-esteem issues, but they are being worked through by this Star. And it is a time to increase both your self-esteem and your self-confidence, to enable something new to come in at this time. This is really saying that you are going to become fulfilled and inspired by life despite what mental difficulties, thought difficulties that you have been having. And it is a reminder to follow your dreams, which give you the most inspiration. Being open to love and trust creation and what it brings. The encouragement is now being given that you have had testing times in the past, haven't you? And now is the time to move forward with renewed hope, because you have the divinity on your side and live an inspired life in which you can express yourself fully. This is really the feminine complement to the magician. She is able to turn things into something. She's able to make things happen. And I'd say that in the silence of the night, thou art beautiful, my silver one, dancing, oh, my golden one, ablaze, and forth pouring the unending river of stars. Let me die in the stream of the many, of the none. Yeah. I think that you should be saying to yourself, I am a radiant light being. I am a star that walks upon a bigger star. I see what can be of benefit to people around me now and in the future. My creative powers of imagination and my connection to all-encompassing consciousness show me the way to realize my ideas. Fantastic. You see? You see? Fantastic. Now, let's have a look at the Three of Discs here. This is the three that was really battling successfully that 9 and 10 of Swords that was underneath there, by the way. So you see, it's all getting better for you. Now the Three of Discs, well, what can we say about the three? I love the threes. It's about extension, it's about expansion, it's about creation, it's also about gestation. That is almost like a pregnant woman who is gestating a child within her. Here we have, in this orb here, what looks like all the things that we might see in daily life, people, events, things going on. That's our ego. I think that represents our id, or our subconscious thing. And these two elements here, I think, represent superconsciousness. And notice how they are all in balance with one another. This is the Lord of material work, Mars in the second decan of Capricorn, the 3rd to the 12th of January. Now, Mars is all about energy, assertion, vitality, and Capricorn about ambition, practicality, and making things tangible. Now, the good thing is that even in ordinary astrology, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so the energy of Mars in this spread of yours this month is very constructive. And it's great in Capricorn because Mars then is actually being put to good use. And it's about defending and battling and coming in on your side rather than being its normal kind of, well, very often it's destructive and impersonal self. Look, in Capricorn, well, Capricorn's materialism benefits from the energy and activity of Mars, so this is really signifying that you putting time and effort into something is actually going to turn out very favorably. I see something coming in here where there could well be a new job or a new type of work that you're doing. That you're actually doing a good job. You're getting through things. You're learning. There's continued progression going on for you. You are being productive. There's even teamwork here. I think maybe consulting with others and getting outside help can also be the case of something which is going to be happening for you during this period. There is coming up here a reward for your previous hard work and dedication. Your skills and knowledge are going to move you forward. There will be the seeds in here are great for your business, career, and practical matters in general. Now, life is generally, I think, going to be in balance, right? You will have disposed of this. This energy, incidentally, of this card is on the way out. And this has been defeated completely by this card. This has kicked it off the stage. Well, you're going to have a great ability to stick with things and to overcome obstacles, right? So lift your spinnaker on your boat. Let the air fill it, because this is a time now for you to be moving forward. And ask yourself, in what areas do you still hold yourself back? In which areas could you be giving more of your energies? Find out and remain aware of what you want to set your full energies towards achieving. And say to yourself, I am now ready to give everything and to receive everything. Great. Great energy. Well, despite your self-talk, I think this is actually going to be a good month for you now. Oh, let's have a look at this. Now, here we have a couple of people sitting down with each other. I assume they're not discussing mathematics with one another. This is the Six of Cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't see the sixth one anywhere. Can you see where that might be? It's got to be around somewhere. I don't very often look at this. Well, the Six of Cups. The first thing that I'll say about the six is that I love the number 6 because it has a great association mystically with Lord Krishna in Hindu philosophy, and of Christ consciousness in Western theology, and in mysticism and esotericism. The Six of Cups is, for me, the Lord of pleasure. The whole image is really of this light, this golden light coming down onto the water, the sun coming down onto the water. And when I say that, it's because I see the sun ruling the second decan of Scorpio here. And this, number 6, for me, in addition to the Lord Krishna and Jesus characters, it has an association with the sun. So here we have a double dose of the sun, and a double sun reveals what Scorpio wants to hide. So I think that we see here pleasure, indulgence, sexual pleasure. I've got to say, look, frankly, this is a very sexualized card. Excitement. May even be communication with your ancestors, family support. But when I talk about pleasure, the pleasure is a kind of pleasure which is completely harmonized. Now, the zodiacal sign governing the card for me, being Scorpio, well, there, pleasure is rooted in its most convenient soil, isn't it? I mean, I think we'd all agree that Scorpios understand everything there is to understand about pleasure and physical pleasure. So this is a preeminently fertile card. And honestly, you know, to draw it in this sense is fantastic, because it really is one of the best cards in the pack. I'd say this also, and you should remember it, that it is about sexuality, but it's not uncontrolled. It's not uncontrolled. It's pleasure which can sometimes be experienced after much hardship, I think, in an emotional sense. I get that because of this sort of coloring in the background here. I think also, now these cups here, to me, they have a feeling of brass to them, almost like brass, you know, that metal. Well, I get the feeling that you have perhaps been undergoing a period of healing. The reason why that is that brass is associated with the planet of Venus, and Venus, one of its attributes is to bring about healing. And I think you could be going through some of this internal transformation. The emphasis really is on a relationship, or on the desire to have a relationship that will improve both individuals, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, enjoy now all of which life gives you. This is the best way to express your gratitude. And are you holding on to old beliefs which prevent your enjoyment of pleasure? Enjoy your own emotional wealth and share it with someone. And think to yourself, I am now open to a partner with whom I can share the joys of love on all levels. Shall we look at these playing cards? Why not? You go back there. Here is the Six of Hearts. Well, the Six of Hearts is really, for me, about transition, leaving the past behind. It means things, new things being undertaken. It's a great card of harmony. It represents the bringing of peace and harmony into everyday issues. And it can also represent compromising and being willing to accommodate the needs and will of others. Now, this can often, for those who are in the market for it, a new relationship can begin when this card begins. And it is a time to overcome obstacles and to move towards a goal. Now, you might find that people want to confide in you, but be careful of people taking advantage of your good heart. And I think what it also speaks of is, well, what I would refer to as a sudden wave of good luck. So, even though I never suggest anyone take up gambling, it might be worthwhile spending $2 or $3. You never know, you might just win the Powerball. But only spend that, because if you're going to win it, you're going to win it. Don't put a lot into it. Seven of Clubs. Sevens are about repercussions from decisions, consequences to be paid or to received. Introspection, soul-searching. We're always seeing some soul-searching, haven't we? And a confinement. You can come across opposition to plans during this period, which may come about from people opposing them by way of arguments, or it can be events which are sort of standing in the way of something. Now, you might see that someone else is interfering with the romance of somebody else. It's possible, I've seen it, where, and depending on other cards around it, where one can feel trapped in a relationship. But I would say to you to be careful of trouble from the opposite sex during this time. And when I say don't take up gambling for a reason, this card means that gambling or addictions could become an issue. And there's something with which you've got a sort of a state of confusion, or you're at a crossroads in respect of. Yes, interesting. Then we have the Eight of Diamonds. Well, the Eight of Diamonds is particularly good. I kind of get the feeling of entrepreneurship whenever I see the Eight in this type of a thing. It's about handling money, being good with money, unexpected money coming your way, or a way of making financial gain. It is a time, I think, to budget and perhaps start a savings plan, put something aside for the rainy day. Material success is on the horizon. Usually good luck or good fortune in business. Sometimes it can refer to a change of job. And if you are of the age, and if you are in the market, it can sometimes refer to a marriage later in life. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, there we go, May 2020, and I really enjoyed doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Do you know you were fantastic during that reading, as you always are? And the only thing that's left for me to say really is this, and that is that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, bye for now.